Hi, everybody.
Hi, guys.
Welcome. Welcome.
So I'll treat this kind of like a host, and that way we'll go through and get all perspectives. And we'll introduce ourselves first. We'll start with Jenna, who you are and what you do, even though many people know.
Okay, so my name's Jenna Zoe. I'm a human design reader, and human design is basically, to me, a way of seeing who you came on this planet to be. So it's pretty much like reading your aura, which is like, imagine that's your software, and how do you use your software to like basically leverage what you have, as well as let go of the things that you were told that you should have, but actually are not going to serve you or be inherent to who you actually came on this planet to be.
I love
So
that.
basically, Jenna, through human design, gives us permission to be ourselves. Like who we came to be.
Yeah, you
Thank
always put it
you.
that way. You always say permission granted.
Yeah, permission granted to find out. And so, yeah, Jenna is super skilled at like just downloading the information, and you've helped so many people. Yeah.
And then Dara, explain to us what you're doing.
I am doing astrocartography, which is the astrology of place, which is where in the world might you want to be to access the most amazing planetary benefits. So it's finding out where you are and what energies you're dealing with now, what energies you were born into. So a lot of people haven't heard about astrocartography.
Yeah, what do they expect when they see it?
So it's kind of like you get to see a map of the world and see where Jupiter is for you, and where Pluto is for you, and where Neptune is for you, and all of those planets give us incredible amounts of energy, and sometimes it doesn't feel that good. But what do you do with it? So I'm kind of helping people. I'm creating a series of videos to help people find their own astrocartography so they can look and see what energies they're dealing with now where they live, if they want to relocate. And then also I'm going to be telling about the different planetary energies, what to do with them, how to harness them to the greatest good.
And honestly, too, because Dara's done my session, and we'll talk about this more, but how to pump up even more what's working for you, or if you're on a line that's working for you.
Yeah, like how to draw it in, how to harness it. Like if you're living on a Pluto line, it's not necessarily bad. You can use it to work and like bust a move.
We're great examples, yeah.
Yeah, you guys are seriously, we were
all born on Pluto line.
Mm-hmm.
We're not living on yours, but
I moved away. It's the kind of energy, but it can make a girl move away from that energy.
Which we're both considering, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm living on a Jupiter line, which is so different and so amazing. So I'm encouraging people, at least if they can't move tomorrow, to consider what it's like to tap into the energies of the different planets so that you can have that at home where you are. And we're going to talk about that. So basically, astrocartography is the astrology of place, like what's going on for you where you're living. So for me, it's the first thing. You could be eating so well, you could be doing all the right things, but if you're dealing with Saturn or Pluto, wouldn't you want to know? Like you want to know. So Lacy was born in between. She did perfect for what you could do with those harder energies, and she made it her body of work, which we're going to talk about on a podcast one day. And Jenna was born on a Pluto line, which Jenna is a transformation agent. So Pluto is a planet of transformation, and I was born on one as well. So
we're going to get into this.
People change
because the whole theme of today, and I'll introduce myself, I'm Lacy Phillips, and so I'm a manifestation advisor, and what that means is I was born with the gift of understanding the energetics of manifestation, meaning in my mind's eye, I can see if this happens, this will follow. And then I further, after following a lot of the new age rhetoric of think positive and not having that ever result as often as I need it for me, that I started to realize that there's actually a lot deeper at play, that we're actually manifesting from our subconscious beliefs. And so the way that I teach manifestation is loosely tied into neuroscience and psychology, and basically how to reprogram our subconscious and project what we want. And so I think that everything we all specialize in is so beautiful that we came up with the theme today that we're going to talk about changes, because we're about to go into the new year, and I know a lot of people, maybe some people had the most fabulous 2018, but after those crazy eclipses, all of my clients, like our team keeps talking about just like what happened. So today we want to specialize in talking about change and how you can harness each of these in order to really create and become specific and intentional about the changes that you want for 2019 while harnessing all the tools that are totally interconnected.
Totally interconnected.
Yes.
Like they go together. We go together.
Yeah.
So I want to start with you, Jenna, and talk about change and how human design plays such a huge role in change. Like how you can use it to harness to change.
So what's interesting, according to human design, so the time goes in sort of bursts of what we call collective karmic cycles. And so we are coming to the end of one karmic cycle that all of humanity has been in, basically. And the one we're in now is all about learning to understand each other emotionally, learning to be emotionally intimate with each other, learning to see the other and recognize the other. And that's because the previous cycle we were in was all about survival and learning what are the rules of the game on this material plane. So like people were dying in childbirth, people were dying because of viruses that spread, and we had zero control over how quick, diseases could just like wipe out entire, cities and villages. People learn how to find food. All those things that were more challenging, that are much more kind of like material. So those were the challenges before 1612. And so 2027, which is only 9 and then soon 8 years away, that's how long we have. Basically, we have 8 more years to figure out how to emote with each other and relate to each other and be good to each other emotionally.
So if we have that knowledge, then we really know how to ease into based on our design.
Yes, and so if we understand that that's our main job as a collective, then all the problems that we're seeing on the external world are coming from a lack of understanding of each other. And so really our goal with human design is actually to look within and see where are the places where you're not understanding yourself, and then where are you not understanding others, instead of sort of wasting our brain time thinking about how, all external problems that we think we need to go in and sort out for other people and all that kind of thing, and intervening where maybe it isn't our role. We need to basically look within, because if each of us looks within, then that's how we change the collective. But more specifically, with 2027, the coming of 2027, we're all going to be turning into much more passive, receptive, unstructured, inconsistent, go with the flow kind of people. So it's kind of changing from this grabby energy to this open palm type of energy, where it's like actually way more surrendered, way more universe, whatever you want to give me is what I will imagine. You have much better creativity than I do, getting outside of our own human heads. And it's not a new cycle to human beings, but it's a new old cycle, because everything flips in between the two. So we go from one phase of being really unstructured and inconsistent and open palmed and passive to receptive and structured and consistent and strategic. And it's the bouncing between the two that helps our evolution as human beings. So it's not bad what we're in right now. It's just that we're going to be needing something different really soon. So with that, what's happening is because space, time, and motion are just they're going to be non-existent very soon,
Which makes all of this so, harnessing all of this together so much more, as you say, juicy.
Yeah.
Because it's literally like you'll have the tools how to make that work for you.
Yeah, and it's very new paradigm. Yeah. It's very like, we don't have the time to waste between cause and effect. You do something bad, you get it much quicker now than you used to. You think a good thought, it manifests quicker, right? So the gap between space, time, and motion is getting shorter as we go into 2027, because that's going to be what the whole new paradigm is about. And therefore, we have tools like instantly how to reprogram manifestation instead of having to earn it through 30 years of therapy, or knowing exactly why there's something wrong with you because of where you live, instead of having to struggle and stay there your whole life. Being able to make changes.
Now. We get to do business in the places that are good for us to do business via the internet. We get to move away from our families when before we didn't. So it's so timely.
Yeah, and
there's
so
no
timely.
And do you want, touch on that more from an astrocartography standpoint of the changes with that impending and just in general?
It kind of came out like human design is here because we need it so much.
Yeah.
What year did it come out?
87.
Totally.
And Jim Lewis in the 70s came out with astrocartography, and he could only do it because we had the computer skills to do it. Like, it could be done without weeks of having to map out someone's astrocartography. So now it could be done on a program, so we can all do it, and I'm going to be teaching you guys how to do it yourself. So we get to do that. At the same time, we get to live 3,000 miles away from our families. We can do business in China even if we don't live there. So let's say you found out you're living on an OK line, or, but you found out that there's a sun midheaven in China, and, that's where you'll have fame and reputation. Well, you could, after this video, connect with somebody and start doing business in China. Like, we have the ability to do that now. We can find love in the different places. If you find your Venus is in Brazil, there's some things I recommend to call it in. I like to do the physical. I like to come up with physical things to do in the home, feng shui wise, crystals, what crystals you can use, what music you can listen to, like ground it on in. Like, what does that mean? So it's, what was the thing you said? Space, continuum, what was that thing?
Space, time, and motion.
That.
Yeah.
And all I could think of is, what does that mean? That means that I could tap into the energy of an amethyst without sitting with the amethyst, because I know what the energy of the amethyst is giving. I can just be with that here. I'm getting chills. It's like, we get to do this. We get to like unblock, and we get to decondition, which is interesting. 7 years. They say it takes about 7 years to decondition.
I don't buy that.
I neither do I.
It's so much quicker.
Well, maybe now rather than in the 80s when it came out, maybe with your help and your help, because these two are avatars, like, it's happening. Like, there you go. It's here. Very, very quick women. And they are showing us that it's that possible to have these changes that quick. It's one of the things I love about you guys, is that it is
I love that too.
so fast.
And now we get to like
you
figure
don't
out.
have to suffer. What?
No, you don't have to suffer. You really don't. No matter where you are.
But if you're going to suffer, if you're suffering and you're on the floor crying, Lacy has something for you.
Well, and also, like, the beauty of what
it does happen.
Of what we're all talking about, I think it's so important. Changes, it's our call to adventure to go to the next level. That's what I believe it to be. And it's what I see it to be in my practice. So anytime that you are on the floor crying, anytime that you literally like lose the love of your life, or you are at a financial crazy rock bottom, or that your career is disastrous, what is so important, because a lot of people are so tapped in, and I really love, too, that there's a new paradigm truly coming, and we can all feel it. Because the old paradigm of manifestation fails most of us, right? It's like, if you think positive, you'll get it. If you visualize it's coming. If you're in the negative, you'll attract that, which is all such bullshit in a way. Where it's like, when you actually learn the energetics of what's really happening. So when you do have that rock bottom, for instance, nothing's as it seems. The only reason the universe never punishes us, the only reason why we're ever going through something like that is because we've been calling in something greater and bigger, and the universe isn't seeing your self-worth. So when you hear of like things like think positive is what creates the law of attraction, it's not true. What creates the law of attraction is your worth. That's what's creating it. So it's like your worth isn't growing quick enough to match with what you've been calling in. Can you explain that a little
bit more?
Yeah.
You get it, and I want to get it.
Well, I learned this a long time ago because I followed the Think Positive model for so long. I think all of us did. And sometimes it would result in little things, but it never had consistency. So I realized I would start to manifest really big things, like a $300 apartment in Echo Park. It'd be like getting one in Venice.
That's big.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And it would be like down to the T, or I get a partner who's like long blonde surfer hair and a Parisian mom. Like just like so superficial but crazy. So I was like, whoa, I'm really good at something here, but I need to get rid of this whole paradigm of manifestation to watch my own patterning of what works when. Let's say, for instance, you right now, you're like, I'm calling in a huge move to LA, but I don't feel like I can afford it. I don't know how I would do it because I'm afraid. I don't know anyone who really lives in LA, and I need to get a visa because I'm in London, whatever. Yeah. The universe, when you start to really, there's a specific way I have people call stuff in a formula. When you start to put that in motion, it's already happening for you. Like it's all the strings are happening for you. But let's say you're not getting into your worth strong enough, meaning expanding, meaning that you really deserve and want this experience. The universe is like, okay, she's not getting it. I'm going to earthquake her into her authentic self.
There you go.
And
okay,
so
that's what I was getting to.
That's what
and
it
that
is.
could look like take that example. That could look like
so for you, it could
being
be
kicked out of my
apartment, losing your job. It's like shake her out of the nest
all the time.
And all we focus on is the getting kicked out of the apartment.
Like, oh my gosh,
or
the rock bottom.
Yeah.
Where it's really the universe is like, yo, I have something for you,
but you know,
and you need to get it going quicker.
Like, that's so true, but it's so weird. Like, I've always had this ability, as soon as something supposedly bad happens, I'd immediately go to, oh, well, it's good because of this. But then I have to catch up with the steps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes there's some grief involved, or there's some whatever. Like you also have to.
And it's so important to feel I'm coming out with a workshop as well of exactly how to navigate this. There's so many steps. like standing in your grace and being able to gracefully let go is a huge thing.
There's some steps in between that Lacy knows.
Huge.
Like you can't just spiritually bypass. That's
Not
the
at
thing
all.
that annoys many of us is that you don't get to just go to the top of the building and skip all the, like we have to kind of take a look what's under the hood.
And there's a greater thing going on. I believe the universe is only intention, and that's why human design is so aligned and astrocartography is so aligned that the universe's only intention and manifestation is to get us back to our most whole worthy selves, which you came onto the planet as with your design.
She came in the same year as human design.
I
like
know.
The same month? No,
same month.
But I mean,
the same year as a little baby. Here she goes.
Any person comes with a design of their pure authenticity of how to harness it. They also come in with their pure chart of like, here's your roadmap. Like, here's what you chose.
How to navigate.
How to navigate.
Here's what you chose, honey. You chose that Pluto line.
Exactly.
You're not supposed to be lazy, cuddled up on the sofa. You're supposed to move away, get it together, birth yourself. Both of you birthed yourself into a new existence, took those challenges and turned them into like a body of work. It's quite extraordinary. So it's perfect, as Lacy calls expanders. It's like my favorite word. Like, it should be trademarked. Like, it's just so fun. Everybody's using it. Yeah, it's like an expander. I would love for you to explain what an expander is.
So what Dara means is that I started to notice that paradigm of manifestation, the old paradigm that's not really going to suit us as much, I think, in 2027 with human design, is we had the whole notion to, or maybe it will speed it up, the visualization process, I don't know. But we were always taught, like, visualize. If you just sit and visualize until you're blue in the face, it'll come.
I don't even know if we were always taught that. Like,
if you
when I was little, I don't know.
I mean, the secret. And
right, but that wasn't around until, like, what was before? I'm trying to think what was before that.
I mean, in manifestation.
Probably before was like, you're not allowed to want anything.
Yeah, you're not, be seen, not heard.
Like, I don't think we were allowed to, like, dream big. I don't even know, like, what happened was before
But then look how fast that is. Like, literally probably less than 50 years. It's from you're not allowed to want anything to you can have whatever you want. Like, we've got 1987. Our Astro was in the 70s. And when did you come up with the new Astro manifestation? 4 years, 5 years ago?
That was in
2000.
Yeah, 2030. Well, I started to really understand it in like 2012.
Right. Yeah. So 6 years. So it's like there's a reason why all these things are coming into the rhetoric because we're ready.
And people are ready. Like, they are like flipping out over what you do, eating up what you do, and they're reaching out for the astrocartography, which, by the way, I didn't always do astrocartography. I've lived astrocartography for 20 years, but I literally moved from a Neptune line where I couldn't get anything done, and I would visit California, and I would be like, I feel so creative here. I feel so happy here. I feel so fortunate here, and it turns out it was a Jupiter line. So I made my way here and have been living it.
And it's really worked and been so beneficial.
Yes.
So beneficial.
Back many years ago, an astrologer said to me, when you get to your Jupiter line, when you get there, thousands of people will want to hear what you have to say.
And look at what you've created.
So I was the same person living in the seas, under the sea in Neptune, and just not able to get it out, to do my thing. And there I was, planted in a new place, and I'm like a lighthouse for people like you guys, because I'm just, I could be seen. It's it's a totally different energy. And what I was going to say is that I always thought, I used to say that food isn't everything, but it's the first thing, right? For your videos, like how you really, if you eat according to your design, and you will digest life better. So I was always really into food. Like, okay, everybody, food isn't everything, but it's the first thing because it's the most direct way to handle and manipulate how you feel. You can always, I say the words, get to the next level. See how high you can get by what you eat. So Jenna has a program on that. You're going to go to jennazoe.com. So it was food, and it was feng shui that I did, and decluttering, and as without, so within. The things that you're placing in your home are a direct reflection of what's going on in your body. Also, your home is going to reflect what's going on in your psyche, all of that. And then I was like, wait a minute. I think everybody needs to know where they're living. What energies are they dealing with? So that's what we're going to talk about. But it's...
in the workshop.
Yeah.
So one thing I want to talk about with us is I want to know with change, like how you can really harness change through the human design tools, especially through the new program you have coming out about 2027 and understanding that, and we'll move around to what that does for us.
So I think the main thing about human design and the new way we're going to be doing things is that now most of the work is the seeing, is the awareness, right? So there's no longer a process of so much having to do like action in the physical world because it's so internal. And we're starting to see this now. This is all what we're doing, but it's about basically saying, oh, I do this and it's not who I really am. And therefore, as soon as I'm aware of it and I catch myself doing it every time I do it, I can just go, oh, stop that thought in its tracks, and I don't identify with that anymore. So it's taking like us out of identifying. Let's say, for example, you think that you are super emotional, but actually all you're doing is picking up on other people's emotions, and the chart has been able to identify that for you. Every time you get yourself caught up in an emotion, you can just go, oh, hold on a second, that's me being emotional, but that's not me, that's my conditioning. And so it creates a space between you, the real you, versus the conditioned you, and you can just cut those strings in the moment, you know?
I love
so
that.
There isn't like a 21-day plan, there isn't a long process, there's
like,
just a awareness in every moment of just, this is me, this is not me, this is me, this is not me.
Love it.
And then just the present moment is your teacher, as cliche as that sounds. It's like you get to see what is a good investment of your time and energy and mental space and what isn't.
Yeah.
And it's like this. You just do it like
That's
that.
how I feel like it doesn't have to be that hard. Years ago, it was like hours with a therapist, or it's this and that, and it's like, I don't think we have time for that. Like, I think it's like now. Like, it's needed now. It's like an emergency.
And tell us with astrocartography. It's an emergency for an awesome life. Yeah.
Like, get it. Everybody be happy. The idea is that we're all operating according to what makes us truly happy and tick. And then you meet somebody and you see in them, and they'll expand in you.
We never finished that
could
term.
do that. Yeah, we want to talk about expander. You go.
Let me finish it really quick because I want to hear what astrocartography. So expander, essentially, the old paradigm of manifestation is like visualize and it'll come. However, we operate on a subconscious plane. So it's like if we come from nothing, but we're visualizing our house in Malibu, like to be so cliche, it's not coming unless we see to believe through someone we identify with or something we identify with that's possible. And we see it enough times to outsmart our brain that it's possible for us. That's when we create space for it to come through. So that's what Dara means.
It's so powerful. So this is a perfect example. I always got to ground things into like, what does that mean? For me, if I saw people doing things that I didn't like, I don't want to create courses because then it's going to look like that person, and I didn't like the way that looked, and
or the feel
of it, or it didn't. Like a lot of people were like, "Hey, buy this. Hey, do that." But the truth is, if you put a lot of time and energy into something, money is like energy back. Totally. Like you need it in order to do what you do. But there was a lot of like, oh, I didn't see anyone doing it in a way that felt comfortable. And so seeing how Lacy has her programs, and I'm like, she's a projector like me. She's a woman and Jenna, both of them, like I saw them doing it in ways like it has been suggested to me for years to do courses on feng shui. Like people want to know, but I just couldn't see how it was done in a way that I liked, and I saw yours, and I saw yours, and I'm like, oh, so it's a perfect example of expanders. So, for example, now it's such a great word, and we can constantly be on the lookout for them. There could be expanders in how to mother, or how to take your turns around the sun gracefully, or to how to live like a projector and still be successful, how to use your energy wisely.
Yeah.
So amazing.
And I think, too, like, what's so important as well is to note as well, because some people will feel like, oh my gosh, well, am I copying people if I'm finding them to be expanders?
That's
and
a good
like,
thing to
no, what you're doing is just expanding in the possibility of what you can authentically bring to the table yourself.
Right, you're not copying.
No, so it's like...
That's a good distinction.
Yeah, a lot. I do have that question come in and support it a lot, where they're like, I feel like I'm, and it's like, that's not what's really happening. So it's so beautiful that you noted. You're like, oh, I could finally see through Lacy's courses and Jenna's courses what I could possibly create through my gifts and talents, and now you're bringing them to the world.
Yes, I am.
So authentically.
Yeah. And people, like, if you landed on my YouTube channel, there's so many videos all over the place. Like, I think people, since time is of the essence and it's an emergency, they want the information delivered ASAP.
Yeah,
and so one thing about Lacy and Jenna is that they're both very generous. They understand that abundance isn't like, I'll be abundant, but you can't, because then there's not enough. Like there's an abundance mentality going on here that I want to really acknowledge. That's so beautiful. There's a generosity
And another point on that too, well, I like to always say, and I think it's the exact definition of human design.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in your full design, I'll say authentic self
Yeah.
is the language I use. That's when, like, there's no amount of something that will ever be limited to
Totally.
you, in my beliefs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That comes through. So we have Lacy's programs. You can go into her workshops. You call them workshops, not courses. They're workshops.
Yeah,
so like
I just call them
people
unblocked.
are unblocked. They're just unblocking yourself. Like how
Totally.
beautiful. You can unblock a vase from your home, but what does that vase represent? Go take a look. And then with Jenna, the biggest, like, so I have generosity, I have expansion over here. With Jenna, there's an absolute about Jenna's being tolerance of human nature. Like Jenna's constantly walking around thinking, like processing what other people are doing. And it's like, I was saying the other day, trying to put it into words, it's like Jenna's processing without any judgment, what somebody else is doing so that we can understand it and get to love. And so that's why human design is so perfect, and connection, tolerance, love, connection, so that when you learn your human design and let's say your mother or your lover, you can say, oh, that's why they're doing what they do.
And let them
right?
be.
Like, because they're a manifestor, not like, oh my God, they just told me what to do again. Like, oh, that's why. And then you can love them, right?
I love that they just told me what to do
again. Like, how, or the energy's big, and that's why. Let me handle myself accordingly. So we're getting so much unblocking and so much understanding, and then you can come to me about the physicality, where you living, what's energetically like heaven and earth.
Tell us how it totally correlates to navigating change. Going back to time as the essence, honestly, and that we don't need like these heavier lifting tools anymore. Yeah. How we can literally...
I want to talk about that. That's a good one, because in the past you may have heard of astrocartography or not, and then somebody might go, dun, dun, I live on a Pluto line. And then they have all this, like it becomes overwhelming, like, I live on a bad line. What am I going to do? No, I think that what I'm getting from this and through my individual readings with people is that it's just nothing more than a story. It's the story of what your soul chose. It's when we come up with challenges, when there's challenges, that's the areas for greatest growth. Like there's Saturn lives in your natal chart somewhere.
Totally. And you go through it at some age.
Yeah, and you go through it at some age, and then you go through it again, and hopefully you got it the first time around.
Hopefully.
So like Saturn somewhere. So what I'm getting from all of this and doing the readings is that, wait a minute, like, you don't have to pick up and move tomorrow. That might be overwhelming. What if we tapped into the energy? Let's say you live on a Pluto line. What if we harness that badass energy, like the bitchy energy of Pluto, and say, I'm going to acknowledge that. Thank you for that. Thank you for making me an agent of transformation. Thank you for making me be a little uncomfortable so I can grow and seek out Lacy and seek out Jenna. And thank you for like that volcano eruption so I can look elsewhere. And when we look elsewhere, we may not move tomorrow, but we may tap in.
Totally.
To
which you're going to teach them how to do.
I am, because I can't do readings for everyone, nor is that my human design or my midheaven, which I love to talk about when people are looking for it. I help people intuitively as well find what to do with their passions vocationally. Simply, for example, like if you want love and you're not living on a Venus line and there's somewhere in your chart that's unobstructed, I'm going to teach you how to like go in and grab that Venus energy. But first, I'm going to show you how to find your map for free, how to look for it, find your astrocartography. And in liberating you to do that, you can also find your lover, your mother, and you can see what's going on with everyone.
Yeah. And it's so validating to see when you see your map, because you know there's a reason why sometimes you go to a place and you feel really good, and then you go to a place and you don't like it.
Yeah.
And it gives you that reasoning for like, oh, I know why I had like terrible nightmares in Ireland.
Or why I'm swimming upstream somewhere constantly. Or we have that sex at like certain places.
It makes you feel like there's nothing wrong with you.
Your sexuality can go flat on a Mercury line, but you can communicate and write your book well. Or you can go to Saturn. If you live there, it's going to be a drag and a half. But if you go there to study, that's good. Things like that. So we, all three of us projectors, were born with Pluto. And there's just a Pluto line, very close to Pluto line, which is like, it's hard and transformational. And look what we're all doing. We're helping people transform.
On a very rapid and quick level. Yeah. With manifestation, what's so beautiful, too, about everything we're talking about, is the change. That it's so easy to do because the energetics at play are never what they seem. So you learn how to harness what you can do in order to navigate and literally make it happen quicker so you manifest with what you want. And like, I think it's so important to talk about, which will parlay us into the next thing. Even this new course I'm putting out, I'm using completely different subconscious changing mechanisms that work a lot faster, which is so funny because that's what we're moving towards. Yeah. So that's what I want to parlay into.
Do you know what it's called?
The one I'm using?
It's just the new one you're doing.
I made it up. So there's no name yet.
No, I mean, did you name it?
The new subconscious techniques? Not
the
yet.
Program
oh, the program. It's called Up-Leveling.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. The subconscious techniques, no, it's just what I've been trying on myself.
No, I know it's your thing. Like, what's it called that people can go...
It'll be called Up-Leveling.
That's
that
so
you
cool.
can take. Which is literally how to get out of a rock bottom. And it's so beautiful
Or
to do.
a rut.
Or a rut. And also, if you are manifesting...
Good one.
It's also how to take that to the next level now and really look at where you need to pump things up.
Oh my gosh, because not everybody is on the floor crying, as I would call it, or at rock bottom, but they might be in a rut. There's a lot of people in.
That's why she's covering all three.
I know.
I think the cool thing about it is as well is that it just gives you that thing of like, oh, it isn't what it seems. Like straight away you're giving this like message to people of like, oh, okay, I can breathe because it isn't, the story isn't, my narrative isn't. I've just gone through a hard breakup.
I'm not a bad person. I'm not being punished. There's nothing wrong with me.
Yeah.
I literally am actually wanting to be gifted with what I want. And now how do I just learn how to dance with the universe to make that happen?
It's so cool. It's almost like, and I know this word has become so cliche, but it's like the universe empowering you when you can't do it yourself.
And pushing you when you can't seem to take that step.
Yeah.
What I do want to talk about, which we kind of just touched on, with this new paradigm, things are going to be quicker. Obviously, it's like simple physics. There will truly actually be no veil of space, time, and whatever. So you can make things happen so much faster. Yeah. And what we're all teaching is essentially you're teaching how to actually navigate what to do to make that transition and make it work for you. You're like, you don't have to totally move. You can actually use your mind and different things and different tools to bring in and shift the environment you're in. And with mine, I'm like, you can actually start to change your subconscious on the fly and learn the energetics of how to connect with what you want in this new paradigm, living where you are or where you move or whatever's going on.
I actually think that if you pay attention to these things, the opportunities for the move come up.
Totally.
Right. So it's kind of like,
and if your core wants that intention, it can happen so easily.
So the premise is the same thing with feng shui. We say that even if you don't want to live where you're living, treat yourself and your home as if you are living there.
Absolutely.
And then, and only then. So, sometimes I do recommend a move. Sometimes
me too.
I'm like, it might need a little
leaving
action.
A partner, or leaving a job.
Sometimes you do have to pick up.
Absolutely. You have to jump off the cliff. Totally. But you're going to give them the tools of being able to see that or not, right? With where they're at, what to do with it. Okay, so one thing so we all agree that we can all basically make things happen with our minds very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, you don't need all the, like, long-driven...
There's been, like, some trippy, like, next day within 24-hour changes, and I'm like, that's fast. Like, it's been very fast.
Well, I think actually, to give Lacy the credit, though, it's actually when you realize that, so let's say, for example, for me, like, when I was trying to make things happen that were coming from a place of ego, they never happened, but when you truly get into... okay, I actually should only be asking for what I actually genuinely, what's meant for me. You know what I mean? Then it gives it to you so quick. All the things that I was wanting that I thought I should want, or, you know, going to make me look good to want it, or any of those things, like, the universe just doesn't make it happen. When you're like, okay, well, show me the answer here, because I've got no freaking clue.
That's
but,
you
know, then it does. It
we got lots to listen to. I want to lie down on the floor and do reparenting.
I know.
As preparation, I was actually thinking that's a good question. Is like, should people?
Oh, they do.
Do you think that reparent and opulence is like a good preparation for the up leveling?
You know, it's so interesting because the way that I'm formatting it is you'll have most of the tools you need within each of those phases. Whether you're in like that long rut where you can't seem to get out, or everything's a shitstorm, or like the cycles continue and you can't get out of the cycles, and the other part of inside the workshop is if you've just had that earthquake where you're on the floor crying, rock bottom, and how to really, because that's a really fun one to dance with, that you can make things happen very quickly. Wow. And then for the person, like my celebrities or my very magnetic clients who are manifesting, but it's like they need to kind of do a little bit of surgery and a little bit more expanding in very specific areas and stuff to take it to the next level, like A-list and stuff like that, which is all very doable. But I want to pivot into one other thing that I think is really fun for people to understand and understand us more, is I want to talk about maybe the biggest change recently we've gone through that's been hard, or one of the biggest in our lives, starting with you, Jenna?
Ooh, biggest
and
in
how
my
human
life.
design is
She's so, you guys are so, I'm watching you were good on the fly last time when she was asking you questions on the YouTube video, the two you did.
Yeah.
Oh, so great.
Oh, it's so
So,
fun.
you're good at
She's
this.
talking about my podcast Expanded, if
Yes.
anybody wants to
Thank
hear.
you. Oh, yeah.
Which Dara will be on soon. Jenna has already been on.
Oh,
Yeah.
so good. Such a great interview.
I don't know. Can you think of an answer for me? Because I don't know.
Repeat the question and I will help
I
you.
will, having to close 2 businesses.
Oh, yeah.
Which
Oh,
we were
some
just talking
change.
about.
A change. What was the question
A
again?
change.
Like a big change or a
Yeah.
rut or something so people can identify
Yes.
with what that's
It was
like.
hard to
Yeah.
let go of that.
Yeah, it really was. And you were telling me, and you were telling me.
Basically, a year and a half before you let go of the product company.
Yeah.
She had a product, a full product, bottles and everything, and beautiful
products.
product.
Yeah.
Two products, 2 companies.
Yeah.
And I was like, I
Don't see
felt-
that.
no.
She was like, drop it, it's too heavy. And I was like, what is she talking about? It's too heavy. Like, I need to be, and this is what I meant, exactly what we were talking about before. It was coming from ego of like,
yes.
I need to,
Or I've only seen this linear path before was a thing. Like, this
Yeah.
is my interest. I'm going to start a company,
This
and
is
this
what
is the
young
only
women
path
do.
I
This
understand.
is
Yeah.
what women, successful women do.
Yeah.
I think that was like,
yeah, absolutely. And also needing to prove a little bit that I could do it too, because
Yeah.
I'd seen like people that I thought were worthier than me do it that way,
It
and
was
that
their
was like a
model.
thing. Exactly. And obviously I saw that, from doing your work, I saw that it was coming from ego, and from hearing you, I kind of understood, and you showed me that mirror of like, this isn't what you're supposed to be doing, and that rang true to a part of my soul. But it also genuinely had to get to a place where I was like, it's been 7 years and it's not making anywhere near as much money as
Mhm.
it could be. And it wasn't even just about money, but it, like you said, it's an energetic, it shows you if there's flow in
Yeah,
a way,
absolutely.
And so
And
to
it's
be
also
doing-
being able to receive. It's that cycle of giving and receiving. You weren't getting
Yeah.
the receiving. You were just
Yeah,
giving.
just
And
giving,
if she
giving.
was, how it would be so. I'm so glad you weren't giving.
I know.
Me
that.
too.
Thank
Oh
God.
my gosh.
Well,
you're
it would have
so
never
neat.
worked. It wasn't your
Literally.
authentic path.
Yeah.
And how did human design help with that?
Yeah.
Because
So
that's huge.
the way that it helped me with that is learning to see my own chart and understanding the ways that my energy works. I could clearly see that it's an energetic mismatch for me. It's the wrong place to be spending my energy, because it's not what I'm here to do. It's not aligned with my inherent gifts. And so basically seeing that so clearly, and then seeing how when I did what I was meant to do and the things that I was good at, how quickly it picked up, how receptive the energy was to when I started doing readings. Then you can't even, when you see the two together, you see how well your real self experiences flow. And I was kind of running, in a way, it was kind of interesting because I was running the two at the same time for a while. And so I really got to see that comparison of like, oh wow, this looks so starkly different for people. And now, you can really see how well the deconditioned self, the real authentic inherent self, compared
It was
to
so obvious,
the
right?
conditioned self. Yeah.
And for you, what are the programs for the people who are really resonating with what you're saying? What are the programs that you would recommend out of deconditioning or unblocked?
Yeah.
And unblocked, both of them.
Yeah.
That would be super helpful for a person to understand.
So I think for me, the reparent was super helpful, because that just basically helped me see where the things that I was so sure of about the rules of this world weren't even rules. They were rules that were given to me by someone else's hologram, basically.
Totally.
What had I inherited from, and where did I inherit it, at what stage, what was the moment maybe where it set in, even just like one even tiny little message that I got that wasn't even meant to be specifically
to you.
to me.
Something you witnessed.
Totally by accident could be, or something that someone didn't even remember saying to you. So the reparent, and then the opulence, I think, because we're talking about career and stuff here, that was also really helpful because it got me to really see what I wanted versus what I was told that I wanted.
Yeah.
And then in terms of the programs that I offer, I think the energy type, the basics of your energy type is so important.
So
even
important.
if people understand on the basic level of, you've heard on a podcast me talk about generators, there's a difference in knowing what a generator is like versus how do you actually use that energy? What is the strategy of responding? How do you interact, exchange energy with the world around you? And then also the purpose offering, which is about manifesting, and specifically, or not manifesting, but using your energy type to flow with your career, because it isn't about, okay, well, all projectors should do this and all generators should do that, because even if you take projectors with 17% of 7 billion,
Totally.
of course we're not going to do the same thing.
And we're 3 sitting right here, and we're
And
so
we're polar different.
wow,
Like,
yeah.
so cool different.
But on the scale, we're still
we're
same.
still
Yeah,
like better
so-
with information instead of product.
So
Like,
what I
we're-
would say, but what I would say, for example, is like
same.
if you are a you're fascinated by politics and you're a projector, for example, that isn't a no, it's incorrect for
It's
you.
how
Or you're a businessman and you're a projector, or you're a lawyer. I know people that are these things and they're really successful, but you will get success in those arenas differently using your projector energy than you would if you were being a generator.
Behaving like
be
a
the same,
generator, or
and using that energy differently. So that's really important for people to understand. I think how to get the most bang for your buck energetically.
And I want them to understand that they can get their most bang for their buck by going to jennazoe.com, because it's the most efficient way to get this information.
Totally.
Because you've made videos on what to do if you're a generator, how to digest life if you're a generator, how, like, it's so helpful and it's so efficient and delivered in such a beautiful way.
And if you're experiencing change in those areas,
Yeah.
it literally gives you the information of like,
Yeah.
this is how, as your type, that you literally, your soul came on the planet as, if you navigate in this way, then it'll be the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
Or how to harness things.
People are getting really hip to this stuff. Like,
Yes.
they're really
It's
listening.
cool.
Because I know I'm doing intuitive sessions for people, and they're like, I'm this and I'm that, and they're listening, and it's so exciting.
I'm
It's
happy
really
because
cool.
look at in 2027, things are going to be working for those people really well and easily.
Absolutely.
How are you now learning
exciting.
through Dara's astrocartography? How are you learning the changes you need to make in your
Great
life
question.
before
That's
2027?
amazing.
Okay, so
That's fun. Well, it's so helpful because I swear, like, we all do sessions for each other, right? Every single one of us are like, drop that,
we've
do
exchanged.
this. All of us.
We're sharing.
And it makes our lives, you can see our lives are rapidly
Rapidly,
improving
quickly
and
growing.
amazing.
I'm
Yeah.
so happy.
I want people to
Oh my
have this
gosh, I'm
information.
happy, like, wow.
And I also think it's
We're
go ahead.
sharing. Go
I
ahead.
think it's also important that people understand that it isn't about anyone better or worse or more gifted, less gifted. The only time you receive, like, when you have ability to change so much is when you go, I maybe know nothing, give it to me.
Totally.
It's not about saying, like, I have all the answers or anything like that. Like, the times when I get vulnerable and say, shit, I'm in a rock bottom, or because we're all going through the same experience.
Yeah.
Like,
When my last rock bottom happened, I was on like the text with both of you guys all day. And like, thank God I know I have like the Jesus cross, the 3-5, and thank God because of you, I know that I have that I'm the genius freak.
She's so genius freak. I
I was like,
I'm
if
like,
I
she's
didn't know
either
that,
a secret manifestor or a genius freak. I'm like, someone's going
and like if I didn't know that, of course I knew the energetics of how to deal with the rock bottom, so I knew I'd come out totally fine navigating my own authentic way. But because I had those tools from you, I knew how to own it and be like, this hurts really bad right now, but all those motherfuckers are gonna see that I'm those things, which is the Jesus cross is like they hate you before they worship you. And so because of that, I was able to navigate
helpful.
So much deeper, and with the manifestation, and since then I've manifested a book deal, an agent, it goes like all sorts of shit because I fucking lived in my manifestation process of how to navigate it with that. And then I'm on the phone with you getting your hit sessions to be like, do I drop this thing?
You better get an agent.
Well,
I was like, you need to do your book.
Do the book, so I did it. And then everything you told me to do, I did. And now that you've done my chart, I know that the next year we're getting our next retreat house in Scotland. So
I can't wait to collect these astrocartographical success stories. Like, to tell the stories. Like, I want to take, if you'll let me one day, share your chart so I can, like, look, this is how we're doing it. This is what we're doing with this, and look what's going to happen when Lacy goes to Scotland. It's like you paid your dues.
I'm done. I paid my dues. I'm ready to be in my Jupiter line.
Shared with us. Now you got to go. Like, and thank goodness all of you guys that are with us right now are the most beautiful, open, like high level,
and just wanting the best for yourself.
Oh my gosh,
and open
it's high flying people. We're like, it's just a beautiful crowd going higher.
But if you learn from your astrocartography that you're going to put into motion for
change. So I know that I was born on a Pluto line, which is why, living in London to me feels really hard and kind of like wading through the ground. And so basically when Dara said it to me enough times, which was a month ago, I said to the universe, and even though in my brain I'm like, well, where else can I live? It's not even possible. And like, my boyfriend and I live there, and my family is there. And you give yourself all the reasons, and finally I just
that's a rut.
Exactly.
I treaded lightly on that too.
Yeah,
I felt it, and I was like, yeah.
Even though it doesn't look like a traditional rut, but your rut in
internal.
your heart it's an internal rut.
Oh no, on the outside, everything people would think, oh great, live in London, like have a, it's not about you. It's the inside. And so when Dara was like, so I said, okay, what at least I'll do is then say, okay, maybe I don't have the answers, but am I willing? And again, this is the big thing about 2027 is just having the willingness is enough.
Wow.
And
the awareness and willingness.
And then my other half comes 2 nights later.
You're a non-specific manifestor, so you said to the universe what?
I said whatever you want to do, but I just want to let you know that I'm not attached to living in London. If it's not right for me, I'll live somewhere else, but I want to live somewhere that I'm happy, that I want to share my gifts. I still didn't have like no list at all. You still just go general. I just want to be happy there. I want to feel settled. I want to feel like I can still work and still, whatever. And so 2 days later, my other half was like, can we have dinner tonight, just you and me? Let's go date night, And he says, we've got to move to Monaco.
I love it.
Isn't that awesome? I was like, that was quick.
And so I was like, Dara, check Monaco.
Yeah.
Quick.
Beautiful.
And it's unobstructed. I have nothing there.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So that's a free
So for Jenna's chart, I don't want to get you.
No, tell us. Yeah, please. Sorry, poor Dara. I'm like giving structure. She's like,
I like it though. I love structure.
No, it's good.
I'm a Capricorn.
No, I
love
it.
Hear definitely. I want to know where your Mercury is. I forget.
I forget too.
I gotta look it up because I have her chart.
Oh,
I'm Sagittarius, so
I'm an Aries. So I'm like, I gotta say everything.
Well, where in your natal astro?
I don't know where it's my cartography.
How Mercury is how you communicate. So I'm Sagittarius, and I'll go.
Yeah. You're the philosopher.
And she's what? Capricorn.
Aries.
Are you Mercury and Aries?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's direct. You're direct.
I gotta say everything. Get it in.
I'm getting like harnessed in, which is so good. You're so lovely doing it too. The way she does it is lovely, and I appreciate it. So you know, grateful. I do. So with Jenna's chart, because one of the ways in which I was able to verbalize the fact that you take in information, roll it around, and it comes out like a pearl of wisdom very quickly, very beautifully. She's seeing what's going on. You almost have no relief in your astrocartography chart.
Yeah,
no good
big work.
And the way I would reframe that,
it's like polarity everywhere almost.
She's working in her head. She's transforming the world. She's constantly having to like click, see what's going on. And so the places that Jenna finds herself at peace are the places with no astrology lines. So she could just be like,
and your adrenals can heal.
Yeah, like here. And apparently Monaco.
Oh, yeah. Great.
So thank you, universe.
You're basically, what's her name? Grace Kelly.
Oh, she's a princess. Did I tell you the other day? I'm like, you so have princess energy. Yeah. She has like royal energy.
Yeah.
You have that. You have that.
Yeah. There we go. So
your chart tells the story, and it just tells that you're here to like change. You see everywhere you are, you have to see it. You really don't get much of a break. You get to have your break in Scotland. You get to like be the queen.
Can't wait.
And have your everything and be seen. It's there. It's there. And you picked it. You said, "Can you look at Scotland?" And I was like, "It's the sun on the midheaven. It's like one of the best."
And the Jupiter line
lines.
Too, right?
If I said Jupiter, then yes, Jupiter. Like Jupiter's fortune. So I have to look at your.
You have Sun and Jupiter.
That's like fortune.
So this is actually
fortunate and sunny. You're meant to have the fame.
This is actually a really good depiction of everything we do. So I kept getting the siren to go to Scotland last year. It was like siren, and poor Max, my fiance, was like, "What are we going to do for our New Year's trip?" And I was like, "Let's go to Scotland." He was like, "Who is this Scotland?" Like the winter. And I was like, "I'm being told I have to go there," and I went there. I've never had such a soul connection in a place. Never in a million years did I think that would happen in Scotland. And so when I got back, like knowing all of my human design stuff, how much rest I need, everything, it helped me go, I could really thrive in Scotland because it's not as sunny as on. And then of course with Dara, you really laid it out for me, literally in my astrocartography, where it was like, yes.
It's like a big yes.
It's a big yes.
It's a big yes.
So
and
it really
she had other intuitive yeses, but yes with modifications, but they were all exactly what she was thinking all exactly what you were.
Wow.
Yeah, super intuitive. I was
Thank you.
very excited when I did your
It
chart.
was so confirming, so
Mhm.
helpful.
That's how it feels.
Wow.
It feels like a.
And in the meantime, until I get the house there, I'm going to be using Dara's workshop to see how I can make Scotland happen for me in other
Yeah.
places that
Wow.
are challenging. How to use her tools in order to harness that energy, like right here in LA.
Yeah, there's nothing that can't have a cure. It's like my feng shui training. There's a cure for everything.
Totally.
There's a cure
love
for
that.
everything.
Yeah.
Nothing is bad. It just needs a little attention.
Yeah. Can we move into you now?
Sure.
So I
I'm
want to
gonna ask
know.
for Jenna's help.
Yes. I want to hear the biggest challenge that you've had that human design has helped and manifestation has helped, and how now astrocartography has helped, so people can just understand how these tools really can harness change.
Oh my gosh! Like, first of all, I heard about human design years ago, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I like what I am. I'm not
You're like, I have
listening.
too many systems.
And it sounds so exact, and it sounds like a. But the way Jenna came in to my kitchen here and said, "Human design, you're a projector, and Jada, you're a manifester." My daughter, and and I was like, "Oh, that sounds so good the way she's saying it." So it gave me even more permission to not generate, not be a generator, to reserve my energy, to work 3 to 4 hours a day, and not get caught up in get energy from generators that I was working with, but not go according to them. Like the knowledge that when I work with people, to make sure they're not doing, if they're a projector, they're not doing generator stuff because they'll end up being unhappy. Like it's the knowledge that we all get to be happy. So knowing, knowing that we can't, she doesn't have this one offering yet, the kitchens person, which I can't wait to talk
Oh,
about.
I know. I didn't mention it earlier.
please.
That's not till into the new year.
Yeah,
it's
fine.
gonna
You
be
have so much
good.
to catch up on to find out what your human design is, what everybody around you is. I think it's just given me so much more peace, especially with my daughter. Like,
I was going to
oh
say,
my
I think
gosh.
you intuitively were you were correctly parenting. Like, you know how you were saying Lacy was intuiting her good places. You were already intuiting, like, how a projector mom should parent a manifestor daughter.
Amazing.
Because I've never seen a manifestor be parented correctly except for
Thank
with you.
Thank you. Like when she was 16, I said, and I don't remember if it was the same time as when you came in to my life. But it was around there. I remember saying to her, "You got this. Like I've done a good job."
Tell Lacy the story of what she told you at 16, Jada.
What did she tell me?
She was moving away.
Yes, Jada. Her dad needed to move to Florida, 3,000 miles away, and
she decided to go with her. And I think Dara, feeling that Jada was already a manifestor, kind of knew how to do things. Didn't overly control her. Told her she was capable of everything.
At some point, all throughout her childhood, I would say, if you want that badly, don't listen to mom, don't listen to dad. You're gonna get it. You're going to get it. I would say that. Like,
that's how you empower.
When she wanted to be homeschooled, she was like 6. I was like, her dad was like not having it. Like, no, and I was like, Jada, I really think you can make this happen, and I'm going to help you. Like, I'm going to like help you get what you want. Like,
you guys
I'll
have
say,
traveled probably many lifetimes together.
Yeah. I've said to her those things, but I would have, had I known that, I would have never given her a bedtime.
Yeah.
So there's little things that I wish I could go back. So this information is so good for children. It's helped my daughter and I. She understands me more, and I understand her more. So our relationship with my boyfriend, like, it's just relationship-wise.
She's surrounded by manifestors.
Totally.
And
I
Sagittarius
manifestors. MGs and manifestors.
That's so funny.
But back to change.
So what about change?
Like the biggest, well, you just went, actually it's a really great depiction through human design, manifestation, and astrocartography. You literally just changed your whole business.
I literally did.
And it's like flowing so well. It's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. It's incredible to watch.
Because one-on-ones are hard for my type. I guess it's in my human design, the one-on-one readings are, and also in my astrology. But it's the change that I've made is deciding through, let's go through opulence first and reparenting. I actually got to a place in like the second or third opulence meditation, which I love Lacy's voice. Like I just love, going somewhere good, and I get images and flashes. And
the way that I lead them through, just for the people who haven't done them, is through hypnosis. That's what she means. She loves my voice.
I said meditation.
But same.
It's like this thing. You're going in and you're like there, and you're like, and you get surprised. So I got surprised with this image of like, I have Airbnbs, and all of a sudden my ex-husband has said to me, you must be very good at hospitality. And I was like, hospitality. How did I get into hospitality? I'm supposed to like communicate with the world what I know. And I did opulence, and wouldn't you know it, in there, I had a vision and words come to me that I was working so hard to keep the house, which is what my mom did when I was little. She worked so hard to keep the house. And I was like, that's shifting. So just getting, I got chills, just getting that information that came to me from listening and being hypnotized and getting that was like, yeah, that is not happening. Like, I'm not in I'm very hospitable and I'm wonderful at it, but my soul is here to do something else. And then I started doing, it's all changed. Like the business model of what I'm doing.
I want to just interject really quickly for the person who's just tuning in into manifestation. So I believe in the model of manifestation that we are not manifesting from our thoughts. I believe we're manifesting from our subconscious, meaning everything we imprinted from literally the moment we were born as programming, shame, pain, modeling of our parents, of society, of media, up until like around 25. And so that's where we can really harness the alchemy of what we want in our life, is when we do exactly what Dara did. She was like, not repeating my
how can
mom's
we
patterns.
know it unless we see it?
Until
like,
we
and
see
so
our
that's
subconscious.
what I'm getting there in Lacy's programs is like, oh, that's what's going on. So, and you could do them again and again. It's not like, I'm sure if I go in again to that
It will
same
be a
exact
whole
session,
else.
totally different. So then with human design, it's just loaded. I mean, it's just like every time I find out something, I'm like, yes, that's it. It's permission granted to be me, unapologetically me, and you be you. And that's just the biggest, best thing in the whole world.
And so for the change of your business now, you're like, I am only going to be a projector that is like speaking and doing all of my stuff.
I need to use my energy wisely. So that's what I learned from Jenna being, she's true to her projector design, and she's using her energy efficiently. So it's a model. As a projector, we have just so much energy. And we got to use it wisely.
Yeah, and so does everybody to an extent. Like
everybody
just why don't we just be efficient with the way that we think things, do things? If every time you make an investment into a thought, a belief, an action, anything, like let's just make sure that it's worth it.
Or it's one that we want. We decide. Like, is this what we want?
Right. Yeah, I don't know if I'm answering specific human design. It's the whole thing.
I can answer that for you.
Yeah.
So I think with Dara's chart, it's like your spleen is just so much stronger than all the other parts of you. That means it's so obvious that you're an intuitive. Yeah. Number two, the way that you learn is by breaking everything down into details, and then that's how you then turn it into wisdom. That's the way that you do alchemy, is by experience, and then asking loads of people about their experience. And so what we basically looked at your chart last time together was basically saying it's that same thing that Gwyneth Paltrow has, where people see her trying out loads of different things and see her as that trier, that explorer.
Tastemaker.
And then when they believe that she's tried it and likes it, she parlays it into, this is what I liked about it, this is what I don't like about it. And that's what Dara does. She's interested on the surface in so many different things, but she's in the business of doing things that are, in her words, clean, clear, and bright. And how does, if we explore feng shui, is this going to be a tool that's going to work with this? Or is there going to be something else that actually we try it and we don't like it? And
or that
people see
better.
her
Or there's ways of doing it that I don't like too mechanical, or like, why place a bowl of rice on top of a toilet if it doesn't make sense to you. It has to be aesthetically pleasing, efficient, beautiful, and move the energy.
And she's out of vision in human design, which basically means that her strongest sense is what's aesthetically stimulating and pleasing. So that's the way she relates to the world.
She gave me permission. Like, I'm like, I would think I was like almost like obsessed. Like, that pillow is not the right way, or like it all has to be like. And then like I'm doing it all the time.
What about with astrocartography, with this new change in your business? What has that?
I would say astrocartography. I don't know how to relate it to the business at this particular moment. Although I will tell you there is something called cyclocartography. So there's the chart. There's your chart. That's what you're born with. You have Saturn where you were born. You have Pluto here. That's the way it is. However, there's also transits. So right now
like
Saturn is going on like a progression, like a progression chart.
Cool.
So right now Saturn's happening.
Yeah.
So I'm like being forced, like, okay, Dara, what you got? You got all this pretty content. Let's put it in order. So Lacy's showing me order. Jenna's helping me with order. So I'm using that Saturn energy for
awesome. That's how you
Saturn's also in Capricorn, and I'm a Capricorn, and it's.
And it's also important
Writing.
to note that I've learned from you so
Yes.
far, learning, you know, the videos you're going to be teaching, but also your midheaven or your sun. That's a huge.
I always look at somebody's midheaven and their nadir line, their Imam to know who they are on the world stage. I'm a Gemini. I'm meant to touch on human design and share about Unblocked and tell people about things. And I'm here to communicate.
Yeah,
I'm here to communicate.
I love that.
And the other one you talk about is the
nadir.
No, there's another one.
The
True Node.
So the True Node's so sweet. The True Node is
Oh,
like
beautiful.
your.
Sounds sweet.
It is. It's like your North Star for your spiritual self.
Your
Like
soul.
if you lean into your True Node energy, you're going to be happy.
I love that.
Mhm.
Oh, that's so beautiful. So will they be learning that in the courses?
I'm going to do that. Yeah,
Sweet.
Jenna has encouraged me to explain some of these basic things that you need to know.
Yeah.
You need to know where your midheaven is. And I always say to people, write this down and Google it and know it and learn it and be sparked by it.
And then you guys heard mine.
You both have Taurus on the midheaven.
How I used human design just recently with my change, and then
Yeah.
also the how I use astrocartography as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I want to pivot into another thing,
Sure.
if we can.
She's the strategic one.
I am. I'm like I want people to
Wow.
understand
We're
who
like,
are
wow.
watching.
No, it's great.
So a few key things I want to touch on in a couple of sentences through, 2017 that's coming out,
Mhm.
also how they can look at their astrocartography, and I'll talk about a manifestation with whether it's a rut, rock bottom, any up-leveling, because that's the workshop, is up-leveling. Can you talk about, for these top ones, everybody really wants to know how 2027, the new workshop, will benefit money, relationships, home, and career?
Okay. So, because there's no more time, space, and motion, it means that all this conditioning of like, you have to work hard to get it, or you have to, especially in the spiritual space, there's a lot of like too much earning stuff of like, you have to like really like, realize all the bad things. And of course you have to lend awareness to those things, but only from a place of not having lack anyway, right? So like, of course we can do all these like, what's wrong with me? But we also don't want to use spirituality as like a self-flagellation tool, because we have enough of those.
Totally.
So we don't need to like
You have to
earn our
move
spiritual key. We don't have to see other people as more spiritual than us. We're already spiritual. We're already good people. Let's
Everyone's
work on that
intuitive.
basis. Everyone's
Yeah.
intuitive.
We can all
Everyone's
channel.
sensitive.
Yeah.
We can all channel. All that shit. Everyone's an empath. Crystals ain't gonna do,
Totally.
not gonna make you more woo-woo or not less woo-woo.
Yeah.
People that are woo-woo are not more spiritual than people that don't seem to care.
Yeah.
There's no more time for all of
difference.
that stuff.
No more division.
Yes,
Truly.
and so if we go off the basis of everyone is already worthy, the quicker we can, again, just the willingness to see that. We don't have to, from tomorrow be like, oh yes, and it's all, because it's not real then, right?
Totally.
If you're all rainbows and unicorns the next day, that isn't going
It's
to work.
spiritual bypass.
Right,
And it won't work.
exactly. But if you can say, okay, I at least want to see myself, I'm willing to see myself as worthy, then you activate all the unseen powers that actually help you get to that place. But so it's not about, okay, I have to change my life, or I have to read all the spiritual books, or I have to do all this. It's just, I want to. And that is enough of a reason. And the only reason why I want to is hard is because we do that, but I can't, but because of this, and
So many
life is hard for
buts.
everyone. And
The buts, the fears is what we're
Yeah.
talking about.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
so it's just quick now. If you want a relationship, do the work, figure out if it's something you truly want, how
Don't
you
get
want it to
stuck
look.
in it.
Yeah.
Like, just do it.
Just do it. You're already worthy. You're worth it. Let's go.
You're worth everyone, and we can talk about that in human design and everything, but you're worthy. You were born worthy.
Yeah.
All you're doing is getting back into being worthy.
Literally.
Whatever mechanism you need to get there, that's
Yeah.
in the quickest time possible in order to connect with
Well,
the life.
yeah.
well said.
100%.
What do you got to do in the quickest time possible?
Yeah.
It's an
Yeah.
emergency.
It's an emergency.
It really is.
So good.
But also, if you figure out that there are moments where you don't feel worthy, which I still have, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's not like a linear thing where, we need to just wait until we need to get to this place until
No.
we're totally sorted.
Yeah.
Because you're only sorted the last day of your life, if that, right?
And moment
So-
to moment,
Not even.
everything's changing with you constantly.
Yeah.
So
it's
Yeah.
fine.
So you gotta
if you
make
pick
it
yourself back
fun.
up quicker and
Yeah.
faster and more kind, then it's fine. You can just be like, oh shit, I was jealous of a generator yesterday. But it's okay because I'm less jealous than I am. You know?
And
Like,
they're my expander anyways.
Yeah.
So like turning that around to be like, clearly I want what they have.
Something that they
Now
have,
I can
quality.
see that they have it, I can have it.
Yeah.
Like using tools quicker.
Yeah.
It's almost like if everyone's operating in their great, beautiful bubble, it's like, oh, they become like the expander of like what's possible. So I can incorporate some of that. Like somebody might be not obsessed with their home design and outer vision, but they see me sharing and they're like, oh, I can do that. I'll do that. So and then somebody else might know something and I'm like, I don't know how to do that. I'm going to learn from them. Like
you expanded me this morning. I haven't told you. Is that because I'm not as nowhere near as meticulous with my home, and I don't put in as much time as Dara does or whatever. But this morning I was having a massage, which was always a good time to kind of like get clear because you're not looking at your phone. And
a massage is a massage.
A massage, sorry.
So great.
So I was thinking about my Pluto line and how it feels heavy and I'm still living there for the next 3 months and how do I make it lighter and whatever. And I thought, I'm going to do what Dara does and I'm going to put coloring pencils on my table so that I can color and bring me just like childlike joy at home in London.
Perfect. Perfect.
Without doing all this.
And that's the perfect time when a crystal would come into play.
Yeah.
Crystal and candle and coloring pencils and just tap into your joy.
Yeah.
Which is stuff you'll be
Jupiter
teaching
and
in
your
workshop.
Venus. Oh, yeah. I am.
So I'm not copying you, but I'm taking the essence of what I like.
That's exactly.
And
expanding
and
implementing, and now it'll be a part of you.
Yeah, and it's pencils. Like I don't have to buy new furniture.
Totally.
And you can create home wherever you are. I believe that. So excellent.
So thank you for expanding.
And then for
so
you,
money. I love those topics: money, abundance, which is different to everyone.
Yeah.
Love, communication, self-expression, creativity. All of those can be had by paying attention to your box of a home, and by paying attention to feng shui. Then you are, let's say you put a beautiful purple expensive vase, an open vessel in your wealth area. It's the actual thing, but it's also like the subconscious message that you took care of yourself in that way. So it's not necessarily the vase, it's not necessarily that corner of the room, but it is having something to do with taking care of yourself.
Because you're going to be, essentially in this workshop, you're incorporating feng shui.
It's like feng shui of the world, really.
It's
like a feng shui of the
Yeah.
world. It's like feng shui, like where in the world? What's going on in different places in the world?
Based on
I'm going to
your
teach you how to tap in.
chart.
Based on your chart
Yeah.
and what you chose, what your soul's choice was, what you have currently. It's kind of like when you do the cards, like the tarot, or is it tarot or tarot?
Tarot, yeah.
It's tarot. Okay, so you have like the past. It's gone on the past, where you're born, what's going on, like the current issue, and then like hopes and dreams, what can be in the future. So we're gonna look at our astrocartography charts and see what those things are, what stories are there for us, and then actually come up with, because I'm so practical and earthy and outer vision, what can we do to remind ourselves physically what we can wear, what we can listen to, what we can have on our table,
Tap into the
tap into it and bring it closer.
Yeah, I love that.
To bring it in.
And so they'll be able to look at that through money, home, relationship, career, any change they're going
I've always actually organized my content that way. When I was a jewelry designer, I would take raw gems, emerald, ruby, morganite, and each one of them held different properties. Moldavite, so great. So I would, people could look according to color, but people could also look according to properties in their life they wanted to expand. Like you want to expand abundance, here's the stones, here are the pieces of jewelry. So as far as astrocartography goes, it's the same thing. If you want to write a book, if you want to have communication, if you want to be well known for your communication, then you're going to look to the sun and to the Mercury. And the really cool thing about that is it's actually formulating now as we're talking about it, is that you may not want to live where Sun and Mercury are, because maybe there's some kind of Pluto energy or Saturn energy, but that doesn't mean that we can't tap into the Sun and Mercury part of it.
And like what Dara just showed me recently is you can tap in based on the phases of your life you're going to teach, or it's in there, like me wanting to have a child if I go live on my Venus line, or my moon line, or if I travel to it, or bring in that energy. And so that's what essentially
And so when we say tap in, it literally means to that culture. To the culture of being a mother, and to where in the world, ... that is. Where in the world is Jenna going to get peace from her constant pearl cultivated? You know, like where am I going to, go to tap into my spirituality, or where do I want to do, if I wanted to do ayahuasca.
Totally.
I might.
Wow,
Yeah,
I definitely want to look at that.
I did a session for someone who was. We did a session, and she's like, "Oh my God, I'm going there. I'm going to my Pluto line for ayahuasca." I'm like, "Well done."
Perfect.
Yeah. So
there's some unblocking that's going to happen.
Yeah. So you may need the transformation, and so we're never going to say that's bad. I'm never going to say that's bad. I'm going to go, "Oh, it's a little hard. It might be a little like,"
But I believe it's actually for you to connect with your greatest good in the best way possible if you understand what's happening.
Yeah.
It's powerful. It's empowering. And I want to empower people to be able to do this themselves, because a long time ago when I got astrocartography done for me, I was never handed a map. I didn't know, okay, I found out Jupiter in California, but what else? Because now we travel so much. We do business on the internet. We can find love in different parts of the world via dating sites.
2027.
Ooh, got chills. That's so cool.
Crazy.
So, I want you guys to be able to do that for yourselves. I don't want you to have to call me.
Yeah.
That's why all those raw food videos I made, I didn't give specific recipes. I taught, what's involved in making the raw soup, what's involved in, because I want you to be able to feed yourself.
I think that's what we all collectively share. We're not into spiritual codependency.
Yeah.
We're here's the tools.
Yeah.
Well, shamans are exciting. That's that's a great.
But I
That's
don't want somebody
the age of the guru and all that stuff.
all of that. You're your own guru.
Yeah.
Here's your tools. Here's what you can do, and then cultivate.
It's a
and
little
transform
bit
your life.
ego-y and old-fashioned, old chefs. I want you to think that I came up with that strawberry geranium, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, dude, it's probably using the flavor Bible.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a flavor
This
Bible.
is all pre-2027.
We all can know.
Old paradigm.
Right?
Yeah.
You guys, let's all be liberated and happy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's enough for
And
everybody.
with manifestation, it's all pretty clear. The energetics they vary a little bit. So if you're in a rut in your career right now, if you're in a rut in your relationship right now, it's all basically what you'll be learning in this. It's just how to navigate those in a very specific way in your worth. And it's just energetics. It's
How
all
do
I'm
you
teaching.
feel because we all know somebody that's in a rut.
Yeah.
We may not be in a rut, but somebody else might be in a rut. Do you feel if we recommended it, or did you ever have anyone buy the program for someone else?
We're actually about to put a whole
wow.
campaign
I think
out
it's a
about
nice-
this because I'm always you can lead the horse to the water, but it's kind of like us as projectors, we shouldn't be soliciting. But I'm going to create a campaign of if you are wanting to refer somebody, here's how to do it, where there's potential that they'll actually do the work. Because I have so many people that are
it's a gift.
I want my husband to do it. I want my, and I'm then you have to stop shoving it on them.
Right, because I wouldn't want you to buy an intuitive session with me for someone else.
I never used to allow that.
Right?
Never.
It's the same thing, but I do feel this stuff is a gift.
It is such a gift. So if it's and that's what I'm creating the whole campaign is how to present it in a way that's non-threatening.
So that's good.
That maybe they'll be interested, but don't force or push them.
No, it's like hitting someone in the head with a saucepan, and then they're going to be like,
Totally.
you.
Where will we be able to find 2027, and how do we get there?
It's just jennazoe.com, and then you go to this place called It's just called Rabbit Hole, which is I basically created it for the landing place for all the different videos and content that I provide on human design, because I realized that so many people were Googling and finding damning or prescriptive or horrible information or too general information about their type, which I just don't agree
It's
with
a
at all.
drag. Sometimes it sounds draggy.
I know.
So I just was I'm just going to reinterpret this with a more positive
That's what we've all done.
spin.
We've been I see the old way, and that seems really hard and limiting. We're actually going to respin this with our gifts and actually make this so super easy for you, digestible, palatable, and works.
Yeah.
So
That's exactly what we're doing with human design, with astrocartography and feng shui, and
with
food,
manifesting.
and with manifesting.
So simple. It really is.
We have to all get together,
radical.
we have to do this again.
Oh, it's so fun.
I know.
Fun.
And after we break, so we can find it on jennazoe.com, rabbit hole, and then click on 2027, and that's where we'll find it. How about astrocartography? How are we going to be able to find this?
So I'm redoing my website, which is super exciting, but it will still be daradubinet.com. And Dara Muse on Instagram.
Great.
And you can sign up for the newsletter so that you're informed as soon as it comes out. It's super exciting.
And so we launch on December 26th, but we won't open up pre-sale for Up Level until November 26th. So you'll be able to go onto freenative.com. If this is before November 26th, sign up for the newsletter and we'll send out an announcement.
You should go into anyway. You should just
you'll dig it.
I mean, I'll say that should doesn't sound nice, but like there's a lot of expansion happening.
And we give out so much free content with tips that it's like, it would behoove you to check it out.
And on Instagram, you give away so much too.
So much.
Yeah.
I just want people manifesting. I don't
You're very
care.
generous.
That's all I want.
Very generous.
Yeah.
Like, very generous spirit you are.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll find that. You'll sign up for the newsletter and you can find it there. And I want to finish this off with just chatting. Like, what's up lately? Because, I mean, like, what?
Oh,
or how about,
fun.
like, what
I
have
want
we
to hear from
discovered?
you. What's up?
I know.
What's up, Lacy?
Well, I want to
turn
hear.
it on.
You know what's fun?
Hold
And I
on.
think people
What's
will
up?
really appreciate this. What is, like, something new you found lately that's really lighting you up?
Ooh,
that stuff, like, let's
that's
talk about it
fun.
so people can find stuff that's, like, what have
I
we,
love that.
our
I love
tastemaker
that.
stuff we've been trying.
Mhm.
Because we're into, like, the
Ooh.
geekiest shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, can I
Yeah,
go?
yes.
Okay, I'm obsessed with, I've done a series of children's characters that I've had since 1998.
Wow.
I started creating them. And my mom, when she was alive, was obsessed with them. Some of them are called the Dubinet, like they're little doobies. They're just these little characters that just make you happy. Fruits, vegetables, flowers on their head. The list of characters is as long as there are nuts, fruits, seeds, mushrooms. And I'm really wanting to connect and create stories or have them used on products that they need to come out. So I started taking them out of the file box that you put them in, and I've been putting them in Procreate, which is an iPad Pro program. And I get to take a picture of the drawing and then recreate it in a really graphic way. So I've been learning how to use that.
So
like,
Procreate. Wow. So for people who are like feeling creative and they want to do
you can
something
draw
digitally.
on your iPad Pro, and it's so much fun. It's just
Wow.
so liberating and fun. So I love the colored pencils and the watercolors. Case for Making is an amazing place to get handmade watercolors in San Francisco. So I kind of geek out on the
So
art
where do you
stuff.
buy them? You
Coloring
go on-
my
Yeah,
own.
Jenna's got to get them. So
I
where do
know.
you go?
I'm like, where do you get them?
Case for Making is a lovely woman in San Francisco. I haven't met her yet. We communicate via Instagram, and she is hand making with pure pigments from nature.
Wow.
Watercolors, and her paper is gorgeous. I'll show you when we go over
Oh
there.
my
You
God.
can we'll color
wonderful.
something.
So cool.
I think it's with Jada, my daughter. We were sitting at the dinner table with a bunch of friends, my friends, and she goes, "Mom," and she was 17 at the time or 16, and she goes, "I thought everyone had coloring stuff on their dining room table. Like she thought all adults colored.
Wow.
But I feel
that
like
is so sweet.
All adults could color.
Oh my
color
gosh.
circles. So that's
Yeah.
kind of fun. Go ahead.
Any other like cookbooks
Like,
or anything like that you've been into, like audiobooks or just anything that's really
Obsessed with astrocartography at the
Yeah,
moment
yeah.
and human design, and I just feel like for me the home stuff is really Big Dipper candles.
Big Dipper
Those
candles.
beeswax
Those are
change your
pretty.
environment.
Yeah.
It's going to be home decor stuff. I'm going
Yeah.
to say that I will.
You're into it right now.
Comforts of home.
And it's
Like I'm
quality.
going to do another series on workshops on how to make your home feel like the best Airbnb ever.
because this is the best. I've stayed downstairs both.
It just feels
it's
like
And you
so
do this
great.
over like the chicest hotels in LA.
Right?
Like this is
It's
where
like
you
the
prefer.
bomb.
Yeah.
That's like we have
moment,
another friend who she came here and she's like, "Oh, I'm staying here next time,"
Yeah.
because but there's things you can do at home to make your home feel fresh.
When we
So-
were actually sitting down on the ground together, I was like, there's two, it was so high,
It's
like
high.
the energy's so high. I could feel like the amethyst in the corner that I was like, wow, this is like doing coke. This is fun. There's high vibes
It's
and
kind of
high
heaven.
energy.
We
Yeah,
do
that's
that.
all it happens.
Yeah.
So I want to share how to make your home feel like heaven, and it could be the littlest box. It doesn't have to be a grand space. So I geek out on. You can follow me on Instagram, and I show little things where I get.
And
stuff.
she does lives that like show you
All
all
the
the
time.
stuff. Yeah, it's so cool.
All the, especially if you're a detail person, you're really good at showing detail too.
How to do.
Yeah.
Like I want you to know where to get.
Because
things.
there's nothing more annoying than being like seeing someone's amazing space or seeing someone's amazing outfit or whatever, and then they just like
And this
leave
is
you
where,
dry. You're like,
yeah, this
"Oh,
is where you guys are helping me because now I have someone to help me organize the content. That when I do the feng shui courses, you're going to know where I buy the best
Awesome.
crystals for
Totally.
the least
Yeah.
amount of money, or this thing or that thing. So you'll be able to do that.
I love that. Oh, and what about you, Jenna? What are the things that you have going on? You always have a thing. It's like you're beamering.
Oh, the beamer.
What are your
I'm
things?
so like.
I don't even know what that is.
You don't know what a beamer is? So it's like a mat that basically stimulates your lymphatic and blood and all that kind of stuff.
A mat.
So
It's not the amethyst biomat.
Well, it's that I love so much.
That's
So
I need to try that.
You have those on your site,
I
right?
have, yeah, and
Okay, I was
I
thinking about
now
that.
have one at the retreat house and
I
home.
need
They're
to
the
try
only.
one.
Do they warm up too?
They
Yeah.
do. It's so. I say when I
Wow.
get off of that, it feels like I've had 3 digestive enzymes. I've had acupuncture and a massage
They're
because
been
it
around
takes
a long
you
time.
forever.
A long
I'm so
time.
late on the boat.
Mhm.
But the beamer, what it
What
does
is
is it
that?
stimulates your micro blood vessels.
Yeah.
And sends the blood to the areas, and what it does, because your blood detoxifies and pulls out the toxins out of your body.
Oh, that sounds good.
And it also, like Jenna introduced me to it, basically we don't use our lymph systems like we used
Anywhere
to.
near enough.
No,
Yeah.
we don't.
Yeah, and
Rebounding, I have a Bellicon and
Yeah.
infrared something.
But
Yeah.
the beamer's great.
That's
It
so cool.
It's so you can
How do
only
you spell it?
BEMER.
That's what I was going to
But
say.
you can only see the difference if you do, like, when people do like a live blood test, you know, like if people take your blood and look at it under a microscope and you do the before and after, the changes are like
Oh.
radical. Like it's crazy.
And projectors have the slowest.
Slow lymph.
Oh, thank you. Lymph systems of
Yeah,
all.
we
That's
have really
why.
slow lymph, so it
Yeah.
helps with like eliminating.
Oh, we do?
Getting rid
We
of
do.
it. Yeah.
I gotta jump on the
You gotta move the
rebounder.
lymph every day.
Mhm.
And that's like one of the main, the main reason we need to be exercising is for the lymph, and we need to do it. We're better off, doing something every single day rather than doing
Yeah.
like 3 intense workouts a week or whatever,
Little
because we
bit a
gotta
day.
still move. But I'm also really into the celery juice.
Oh, you're
Yes,
doing it.
I'm doing it
I'm
now.
So you might as
obsessed.
well name it, because that means that you're following, sort of following
Medical medium.
medical medium
Yeah.
and the peasant diet. Those are the two for
Yeah.
you that really work really well.
I'm obsessed with celery juice, I have to
Yeah.
say. I've
Yeah.
done so many things for my adrenals and for my
I see the
digestion.
difference actually.
It's
Your skin looks glowy.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
unbelievable
It does look
the
great.
difference. It's the difference. I'm on day 5 only. I'm so
I'm on day
Wow.
4. I think I followed suit.
crave it. Crave
Yeah.
it now. It's
What's the
unreal.
hack of making it? Do you guys know, for the person who doesn't have a juicer?
Oh
Yes.
yeah, you make it in a blender and
Yeah.
you put it through the
and you
juice
just put it through your nut bag or
Yeah,
anything. and
it's
you have
so
the
clever.
juice. Yeah.
It's so clever.
I'm a big fan of the Breville Elite Juicer because it's like you can put the whole thing in and then it's juiced. It's so amazing.
It's amazing. It's so
But
But
cool.
Yeah.
she's always like Dara. Like I think the first reason I even found her was because she was always talking about being a high green eater. Like no matter whether you were vegan on
Just be high
paleo or this or that, just do high
because
greens.
everybody's saying no this, no that, but nobody's saying you shouldn't have a lot of greens.
Yeah. That's a book.
To me,
I like that.
Literally,
Yeah.
I'm high
Yeah.
greens.
Yeah.
You don't have to label me. Just know that I eat a lot of greens.
That's
If you want to
awesome.
know why they
Yeah.
say why does their skin look so good, it's not
High
because of anything I'm putting it on.
And how many
It's
turns around the sun?
51. I'll be 52 in December. Is that
Jesus.
crazy, Pam?
That's amazing.
Mhm, My
Oh
daughter's
God.
18 and bigger than me.
Wow.
Yeah, and
But it's interesting what you were saying about how when you live on your Pluto line, you're like more, what was it? Emotionally eating. You're more prone to emotionally eating.
Absolutely.
When I'm-
Especially here in LA.
Really? So when
Yeah.
I'm in London on my Pluto line, because I'm vegan, but I steer more towards like pizza,
that makes sense. Yours is on the
rice,
Etsy.
bread,
See.
red wine, da da da. I'm here and
Yeah.
I can do like
You
the
could do
greens
your
and the
like
celery
Ugh.
and it just
because
feels so
you're
good.
being dragged into the volcanic energy, and yours is on the IC, which means it's pointed down towards the earth. So Pluto's affecting you at home, at your home, in your body.
Oh,
With
sleep,
the food, it would
everything.
make you physically feel.
That's
Where somebody
exactly.
else would affect, midheaven would affect their career. I think
Mm.
I think yours is ascending or descending. It's not dangerous. You weren't
You
on the
told me
danger
it
zone.
was like
Ascending is
Hades. You
dangerous.
told me it was like
It's like being dragged to the
What's
underworld,
the
like the
woman?
sexy. It's like being.
the goddess like
Persephone.
Persephone.
It's kind of
That's
like you're
awesome.
dancing with Hades, out late at night, and I'm like, no. Persephone. I'm like your
Yeah.
mom. I'm like, Mom, come back to the spring, come back to the harvest.
Uh,
One day we'll talk about the archetypes, and I'll
She's
share.
so good at goddess.
It's
like,
fun
wow.
story. So you got to know the sexy part of it. It's sexy, but it's also can be very hard on the health.
It's,
so
So
it's
it's like
tequila
that
and
polarity.
pizza.
Yeah.
it can drive you to drink.
Fun for a
It
day.
could
Bad
drive
for
you to
the
drink.
bad for the skin.
It could drive you
Yeah.
to eat. It
Yeah.
could drive you
I've
to.
been feeling it so much here on my Pluto line that I'm just eating. Like yesterday, I had a hamburger.
Mhm.
Crazy
I'm gonna make you some
fries.
veggies in a second.
Know.
It's
What
so
steamer
hard
do
to.
you guys use? Because I'm going to start steaming at home more.
I use.
Oh.
Because you guys
Everyone
eat
should have.
primarily steamed veggies and
Yeah.
no oils.
I spent
Yeah.
18 years making.
Oh yeah, the
food
no
from-
oil thing is like my revelation for life.
Especially projectors.
Yeah.
I feel that too. I feel low fat. Anytime I've lowered fat, I've lowered my own fat. So if you want to lose weight, lower the fat. Like
It's good for digestion, I think too. I found
Yeah.
not
I have to
having
agree with
oil is so good for digestive issues.
Totally. I have like
Mhm.
pancreas, blood sugar
Yeah, me
issues
too.
when I cut out oil because I think my liver and pancreas just cannot process it correctly. And you have a whole theory on that. Finally, I figured out that's what it is. I can go back to eating normally.
Yeah.
Meaning I can have dates and things. Before
Yeah.
that, I wasn't even
Couldn't
able
even
to
have fruit. Yeah.
It was
so
too blood
lower
sugar
the fat
spiking.
to clean up. Well,
Yeah.
what happens
My
is
liver
your
and
cell,
pancreas.
the cells want the sugar. The
Yeah.
cells want the carbs, want the sugar. If
For
you have
energy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you have fat, too much fat, it's going to cover the cells, so the cells die, and then you end up having the sugars in your bloodstream, which spikes the insulin. So it's a mess. So you really have to choose whether
Like
you're
a
a high-fat
compatible.
diet, no sugars. That's why
That's what it is.
That's why it
Keto
works
works.
for them.
Yeah.
Because-
And it plateaus. That's what I did for so long.
Yeah,
Not
you
keto,
choose.
but
High
paleo.
fat. Yeah.
But that's
Paleo.
exactly
You
it.
can't be in the middle. You have to
No.
choose. So a lot of the different camps work, but you got to be in a camp.
So if I'm doing low to no fat, very low, like avocado here,
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
almond milk, things like that are nice fats, but not like olive
Yeah.
oils that are
Mhm.
like just so heavy
Yeah.
on my. So if I'm doing that, then I can have a higher sugar diet.
Yeah.
I think you're cleaned up enough to know these things. I hope that everybody can get to that point where they can speak about feeling their pancreas and whatever.
The
But for the
intuitive.
the best thing to do is like start with celery juice, have your smoothies, have your raw soups, have or warmed foods of whatever according to your human design and how you digest life.
Which Jenna has.
So
Videos
up the
on that.
greens, either have them steamed. You can get videos and learn about your type on Jenna's site. Up the greens, whether they're warm, hot, or cool. They're
Because she's a cold thirst person, so she does. And it's so funny that she was a raw food for so long.
10
Wow.
years.
She needs to eat food that's below body temperature.
Oh, no way.
Isn't that crazy?
And I love it, and it feels so good.
Because I thrive on like room temperature.
Yeah.
It's sort of my middle ground. that
And
really
you're
works.
like that more one food at a time. Kinda
which I
gal.
still haven't
You
totally
are
incorporated.
your monomeal lady.
Yeah.
And I could
Oh
eat
my
the same
gosh.
thing all day, every day. Like
Wow.
Irish poor stew. I would like thrive on.
It's so funny.
Totally.
But
Yeah.
but she would
Wow.
even have to separate the ingredients.
Well,
Right.
it
She
depends.
could
If
have a
she's-
monomeal.
No, because she's you can eat different. So if you wanted to have a stew, you would eat
That's
all
so
the
great.
carrots out of it first. And
Right, you gotta eat the
Ah.
ingredients.
So it's
along.
back to like pairing properly and stuff like that, kind of, right?
It's back to what some people do, which is flat out monomeal, which means
Yeah.
you're having cucumbers. Well, not in your case, room temperature. You could have cucumbers, but you would have just that one ingredient and simplify it. Your digestion would get better.
Wow, like how we had
Yeah.
the sweet potatoes before this.
Yeah.
Just steamed sweet potatoes.
Just that.
But you're
It's
lucky
simple.
that you could eat, like, let's say a meal of 3 different things and eat all 3, but just
Okay,
eat
that's
all
Ah.
the thing first. And then, so out of the stew, you'd eat the carrots and then you'd eat the potatoes.
Oh, so
and
she
then
could
you-
take it out of the stew.
Yeah,
That's so
because
cool.
there's some people that have to just
Oh.
mono.
Lucy.
And that's, yeah,
She
like
can
you're saying,
only-
yeah.
She can only eat that
Wow.
mono thing and then nothing else.
Yeah.
Jeez, man. Wow, I love that.
I know. It's so
Uh-huh.
cool to know what your thing is. Like, we
Yeah.
laughed when you told me I'm kitchens
And
and
you're a cold.
cold. Because
cold
I like,
But you don't have this one coming out. This won't be
Yes,
until.
it is. Isn't it out?
So the
That was
digesting.
out, right?
Yeah, that one is
Okay.
out.
Oh,
the
the
digesting.
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Okay.
The environment one is coming out soon,
Ah,
which is like
okay,
where
okay.
it's good to live.
Okay.
So
all that stuff.
good.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
It's good fun. But yeah, the no oil thing is my obsession. It changed
Yeah.
my life, and then celery juice has like brought my adrenals to like
Wow.
What it does is like also it changes your palate for the rest of the day.
you
Oh,
only
yeah.
crave like
It
nice
just
things.
you won't
yeah.
you're craving cucumbers and apples. It's wild.
Wow.
It's magic. I believe him to be
Now can you have is the
Ingenious.
celery juice at any time of the day or just first in the
first
morning?
thing in the morning.
And then
It has to be on an empty stomach, and you can't mix
I
it
still
with
can't do that. Yeah.
lemon
because of
or
blood sugar.
ice or really.
I
you
have
sure?
to wait until it's Oh, my blood sugar is so sensitive. Until
Really?
maybe I really get the fats like down and out, and
Okay.
then it heals. Then
Yeah.
I could do it.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's so weird because it doesn't. I think because it nourishes his whole theory is that there's cluster salts in celery that have been like so far undiscovered by
Yeah.
medical science, that the cluster salts basically boost your adrenals, and then you don't feel that. You know,
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
like if you haven't eaten for a while and you feel like this, and that's how I get
Totally.
anyway. You just like a bit whatever. once you get that celery juice down, you level.
Wow.
And then you're able to like make a decision like, oh, I'm not going to have an extra frothy cappuccino.
Totally.
I'm going to have like
it works.
a smoothie or
Yeah,
a banana.
yeah.
Or
It really works.
Yeah, it really works.
It's working.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's good.
I agree with him on his diet. I feel very happy.
But it's
about his-
we think it's more projector based, right? Like projectors
Yeah.
would thrive on it. Not everybody
No,
else
not
would
everybody.
thrive
I
on
don't
this
think
at all.
everybody.
And I think he's a projector too, which
He
is
has to
so
be.
interesting because it shows you like different people's exact point of view. If we
Yes.
only took it as, okay, this is what works for someone, let me see if it works for me, let me test everything out, then it would be fine.
Yeah.
Like, it isn't this like, it works for it's never this works for everyone,
Totally,
ever, you know?
totally,
So,
yeah. And that's how we just have to get into
Right?
intuiting.
Like, I want to know your
Yeah.
eating ways, so next time you come over, I can have the things that
I
make you
know
happy.
she had like sweet
Like-
potatoes for Jenna. She had
I knew you'd be
um,
okay with sweet
so
potatoes.
my
Those
totally.
are pretty.
Cilantro. Yeah.
I
The
saw
like,
the-
oat tea was
We
waiting.
were-
I
right,
love
like
that.
I knew we went to dinner at Cafe Gratitude, so I was like, kind of knew that you would eat kind of around what we're, you know.
Yeah, oh,
like,
totally, yeah.
Yeah, I had some kind of intuitive sense, but I'd love to know what you want next time.
Oh, I'm so grateful.
what
yeah.
are you into?
I just intuit. So I listen. So the way that I roll is on the biomat, I do my deep imagining every day. And I've already recorded, or I'm recording the deep imagining track that'll come out, the whole album,
Oh, amazing.
which is all about neuroscience reinforcement. So less about unblocking, much more about reinforcing these new neural pathways of magnetism. And so I listen to one every day that's like whole body. I've like changed it many
Really?
times, and now it's like super whole body. And in it, I prompt myself because my subconscious is forward, so I know that it's none of the shit that I'm picking up on from other people or like, you know, being on my Pluto line. Like, I can really hear my body, and I ask myself, what do you need today? What ingredients do you need today? What nutrients do you need? And it'll tell me.
That's
it'll be
great.
like, asparagus. This.
It's
It tells
intuitive
me.
eating.
That's all
That's
I
what
do.
I appreciate. Right.
Yeah,
Listen,
I intuit.
like, that's the thing. So, what are you listening to, and can we listen to it? What's it called?
Oh, well, it won't be out until
Okay.
probably like February or
You'll
March.
let us
But
know.
it's going to be
Cool.
great. It's really
But also
exciting.
how interesting then that you know you're able to do that because you're free of all the shoulds. Like you have
Totally.
nothing in your mind of like, it's good for me to eat this or
That sounds so
this
good.
is the right
Yeah.
way. Like if
I've
it
let
says
go
to you,
Every programming I've ever picked up because I still
Mhm.
was ill. Like I had endocrine
Yeah.
issues. I was like, none of this is working. So why don't I actually start listening? And now I do it in every part of my life. Everything. Like
Well,
I know what to put out
Yeah.
for business. I know where to
Mhm.
move. I intuit.
super intuitive,
everything.
Yeah.
like off the charts. You are.
yeah.
Thank
So
you.
it's part of what it goes with what you're doing with human design and how to digest life by digesting like by what you eat. You know how you
Mhm.
say it's like it's the most direct thing you can do.
The most concrete source of information you
Yes,
can put
that.
inside your body. Yeah.
Like,
And I'm super aware now of like what's going on with my nervous system or my aura when I'm
Wow.
eating, where I need to like slow down. I need to get rid of everything else. Sometimes I'll have to do a deep imagining to clear everything
Yeah.
so that I can actually digest and absorb the nutrients I need.
So much better.
Otherwise,
I know.
it's just like
may as well not be
eating
yeah.
it all. Like it's just indigestion. It's so
Yeah.
bad.
It's so interesting that you can eat like the healthiest thing,
Yeah.
but not.
you know what I think is interesting is so many people are walking around with poor digestion and they don't even know it.
I know.
Like you guys are like so finely tuned. Like I want us all to be just aware of what we're putting in. Our
And I
mouths.
think the like key tips to doing that is literally starting to listen to your body and not listen to anything else out there.
Yeah.
You know, listen to what your body is telling you.
Mhm.
And I am like super aware now. I'll be like, I'm gonna go emotionally eat right now. I need grounding.
Yeah.
I need to be on earth. Like I'm gonna go have a
Yeah.
hamburger.
But you own it.
I
You're
own
not
it.
going, I'm so bad.
Not
I'm
at all.
terrible.
That's the
I suck."
worst,
That's
right?
the worst.
I make and
Yeah.
so in this deep imagining that I do, because I really do believe in neuroscience having the capability of literally shifting on and
I
off
agree.
our epigenetics. It can control everything.
Mhm.
I believe that there's no
Even
difference
the food. It's so true.
in physio. Oh yeah, and how we're absorbing molecularly
It's so
the
true.
food's energy. I believe in it so much
Mm.
that now, even with the like going out to emotionally eat, even in the deep imagining, this is what I call my hypnosis process. It's termed deep imagining. In it, I basically can go like detoxify everything out of your body that didn't serve you. It's a whole process so that it doesn't even affect my
Yeah.
body and I can absorb it more.
Mm.
And the biomat puts you into sympathetic out of parasympathetic, so it actually does all the work for for you.
Right.
Do you have enough time in the day to do everything that you know? Like, do you have a lot of things that you know to do? Do you find that sometimes you don't get to do things, or are you getting everything in?
So this is kind of the thing. I know. So based on doing human design with you, I really made the team bigger so that I had a lot more space. And then we had like a whole business thing happen where I had to like come back in and, you know, be pretty hands-on, and I'm starting to let go. But my routine when I am living my design, I am being a projector. I don't start any work until 11. I'm huge on having to look at the sun before the phone in the morning to reset my whole circadian rhythm and hormones.
Like sun gazing?
Sun gaze, no matter what, before I turn on that blue light.
Beautiful.
Wow. So that's huge
It'd
for me.
be fun to hear like one day more about like you. Do you know what I mean? And what you do and how you do it, because you're manifesting like crazy. There's abundance. So she's a projector, yet she has a full business. Like, it's fascinating to me how you do it.
Thank you.
Like, I'd like to know more details.
Yeah, I'm happy to share.
Do you know what I mean? Like, one day maybe we'll just make a video and hear more about like
I love
how
it.
you're operating as like so successful and in person. Like, you remember when I told you I was like, I'm gonna go see for like. I always go to things a little bit like,
Oh, yeah.
And I went, and then I saw Lacy at the Brahma Institute. You were doing a talk. Jenna said, you got to go. Lacy's like, a block away. And I was like, all right, I'll go. Like, I don't really go seeking out things a lot. I don't really.
I don't either. I enjoy it.
I just don't. And then I was like, I'm going to go. And then when I saw your eyes and you looked into mine, I'm like, there's so much sparkle. There's so much sparkle and beautiful skin and lovely countenance. Like, what a blessing to be with these two ladies. Like,
And you too.
I feel like it's like osmosis. Like, maybe you guys can feel it from watching, but there's just this beautiful energy that I think can move energy. Just the knowledge that you guys exist is so comforting.
Vice versa.
Oh, you too.
Yeah, thank you.
And it's also like, this wouldn't, like, we're just a collective representation of, do you know what I mean? It's like not even, it's like,
like the people calling, the people calling that you've sent my way somehow just by mentioning me and being so generous. The ones that have come, they're like all beautiful. Like, if we were all sitting
and they're ready
in a room,
to do the work.
they're ready, and they're like, we're like,
and
everybody's
people
doing
attracting
it.
and watching this. It's the same osmosis. We're all
high
feeling
flyers.
your energy.
It's high flyers. That's what I call them. High flyers.
We've become what they made us.
They vision hold. That's exactly, I believe.
Yeah.
Shall we wrap it there?
Yeah.
Oh,
Otherwise we could go on for hours.
I know, we can talk. I know. And thank you guys for joining us today.
Thank
That was
you.
amazing.
So much fun.
As the light dims, it's been a whole
Right, it's
ride.
perfect. Okay, lights dimming. I'm going to shut off the camera. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much.